The big stars seldom took big risks, but lesser-known actors, particularly in westerns, were expected to do at least some of their own stunts. Fred Thompson was an Olympic athlete who had become a cowboy star. In this western, his director, Al Rogel, set up a chase sequence down the steep gradient of the Hollywood Hills.
We were using the stagecoach, which had run away, and Fred was to pick up the team. In order to get Fred and the horses and the depth, the scene and the ravine and whatnot, we had these two cameras set on the back of the stagecoach, and to keep the stagecoach from wobbling too much, we'd had, I don't know how many sacks of sand that we put down in the boot and in the coach. So it was extremely heavy, and I was up there watching it and gave the signal, and the horses started out, and Fred made his transfer right on a turn, and the horse went down. The wheel horse went down, and Fred went down with him, and the coach with 4 men and all this sand went over both of his legs. And he went to the hospital and was there for, we didn't know how long, but the picture was finished. I let that go to the last scene in the picture. And that's where Yakima Canutt got his great idea, which he has done 1,000 times since. I picked up Yakima Canutt under the wheels of the stagecoach, hanging on to the rear end and working on his stomach up under the coach and onto the tongue, and working his way on up to the leaders and pulling them up at the edge of the cliff. Now that becomes a famous stunt, and it was all done by accident.
Raised on a ranch, Yakima Canutt won so many rodeo trophies that he was signed for pictures as a cowboy star himself. But what fascinated Canutt were the mechanics of stunt work.
When I first went into pictures, they was falling off a horse, upsetting wagons, rigs, what they called a bulldogging, where you'd ride up alongside of a man, grab him, pull him off the horse, go down between the horses. Half the time, horses would step on you and skin you all up. So I started taking these gags and building them up, making them a little different. The bulldogging, I pulled my stirrups up shorter, ride up, I'd make a jump and light on behind the fella and grab him and turn the flip off the horse backwards with him. I tried to keep one notch ahead of the rest of the stuntman, which there wasn't too many of them in those days anyway.
In 1926, Canutt starred with a horse called Rex. Rex had already killed a man in Colorado.
This was a horse that you had to keep your eye on at all times. Even though I rode him in the scenes and worked with him a lot, you never could tell when he was going to turn and attack you.
Rex was more dangerous than Canutt expected. He gave the director, Fred Jackman, an ultimatum.
I'm gonna do the scene under one condition. He'd let me take the horse and take him into the training stable, take him into the arena and work him for 1 hour. And he said, well, what do you do? I said, well, I'm gonna take a billiard cue and a whip. I hope I don't have to use the billiard cue, but when I come out of there, he'll have a little respect for me. And so the director said, well, okay, he owned half interest in the horse. He said, okay, go ahead. So I took him, and this horse, I put him through, he's worked fast. I kept making him work faster and faster till I got him angry. And then he turned and charged me, and when he did, I just backed up, sliced him across the nose with this buggy whip, backing up to get my billiard cue. And we come back and we did the scene. He charged in, and every time I'd holler at him, he'd stop. Got some good scenes with him, but he was a kind of an outlaw horse at heart. But he had a kind of a personality, too.